Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be reviewing the Colourpop Matte About Hue palette. This is their latest mega palette, all matte, rainbow color story. It's absolutely beautiful, and as you guys can probably tell, my review is going up pretty late. I feel like my Colourpop packages recently, they have been taking longer than usual to get here, and I feel like by the time I receive them in PR, I just feel like I'm already so late, but I really want to do a review on this because I just love the rainbow color story. I think it's just so pretty. There were a lot of looks that I wanted to do with this palette, and I think a lot of you guys were curious about this palette too, so here we are, finally a few months later. But I'm not going to really focus too much on my review. I really want to focus on, you know, the comparisons, the swatches, and also my 3 looks to give you inspiration, because this is an all matte palette. You guys know how I feel about matte, you guys know how I feel about Colourpop matte. So I really did enjoy this palette. I didn't get to use every single shade, but the shades I did use I had no issues with, you know, just beautiful matte shadows. So yeah, this is the Matte About Hue eyeshadow palette. It goes for $34 USD, and of course there are 30 matte shades. It goes from pink, orange, yellow, green, purple to blue. I overall really did enjoy this palette, and I think it's a really great beginner rainbow palette. From the way it's laid out, from the gradation from light to dark, it's very easy to take on. My only cons about this palette, and I think they definitely could have made this the best matte rainbow palette if they added these few things, just in my opinion. If they added some reds, and I think they could have done that because there are a lot of shades here that definitely cross over. Like, yes, there is a gradation, but once it's on the eyes, that difference is not going to be too much of a difference on the eyes, if that makes sense. So I think there was definitely some room where they could have added in some red shades, because what is a rainbow without red? The first color in the rainbow is a red. So this is the same thing with their Fade Into Hue palette. There wasn't a red inside as well. And I do understand from what other people say that red shadows are really hard to make. That's why we don't see them a lot. But I think Colourpop can do it. You know, they have some really good red palettes. I think they can do it, but that's just my opinion. And then I think if they were to add a stark matte white and a pitch black, this palette to me would have been absolutely perfect. Like, I really don't mind that there are no shimmers in here because I love my glitters. You know, I have those palettes for that. So I really do love the concept of this, but if they just added the red, the white, and the black, this would have been a perfect palette. But regardless, without those, I still think it's a really good palette. I mean, I have so many palettes, you know, I do have a matte white, a matte black, some reds. It's fine, not a big deal, but I'm just saying. I'm just giving my opinion. So this definitely has my recommendation on it. I really enjoy it. I see myself using this a lot in the future. If you want to do like multiple different color stories in one look, it's nice to have everything laid out here. So if you guys are interested in this palette or anything on the Colourpop website, my code is always there. It is affiliate, so I will earn a small commission if you do choose to shop with my code. My code is just my name, Judy, for 10% off at checkout. Thank you guys so much for always using my code. I really do appreciate it. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move into the comparisons and then into the 3 looks. I hope you guys will enjoy.
Alright, so here we have the comparisons with each color story. I did compare it to the Fade Into Hue palette just so you guys could get an idea of how different the tones are, because it is quite different. As you can see here, this one is the orange row, but it's actually more peachy once you compare it to the Matte Into Hue palette. And then also for each color story, I first compared it to the Fade Into Hue, but I also matched it with the closest monochromatic palette to it. So each column will have 3 comparison palettes. I just picked the closest one that kind of has the same undertone, or a really popular monochromatic palette, if that makes sense. So hopefully you guys can see the difference between each of the palette. And of course, you know, all these palettes do have metallic, so I'm just kind of giving you an idea of the undertone that this palette has. There definitely are some good comparisons, almost dupes, but I think there is a slight difference between all of them.
Alright, so getting started with the first look, I'll be starting off with the shade Crazy Cool. This is the lightest shade in the pink row. This is going to be our base color, our transition, so I'm just working that straight into my crease using windshield wiping motions, getting that blended up towards my brow bone, and I'm also going to sweep that onto my lower lash line as well. Next, I'm going to move into the shade A Little Iffy, also in the pink row. This is going at the outer corners of our eyes just to deepen out the eye look, to create more dimension. This is also like gonna contour my eye shape as well. This is something that I just always do with my eye look. So I'm also gonna take that onto my lower lash line as well, just using the same brush to get a really blown out effect. Then taking an opaque eye primer. This one is from Ace Beauty. I don't think it's available anymore, but it's really similar to the P. Louise eyeshadow base, or you could just use concealer because we're just gonna be cutting out our crease. Just doing a half cut crease here. I like to apply the base onto my lids and then I'll take that up above my crease, so that way when I look up you still can see the shadow. There'll be no transfer. But once we got the half cut crease going, I'm gonna go into the shade Say Less, which is the lightest shade in the green row, and we're just gonna pack that on right on top of that eye primer. The eye primer also helps bring out the lime green color, just makes it a little bit brighter as well. But just focusing that onto that base, and then I'll go back in with the brush that I use for Little Iffy, the darker berry at the outer corner, and just kind of merge the green and purple together. If you just use windshield wiping motions, they will blend into each other, no problem. But now I'm going to move into the shade Elephant, which is also the lightest shade but in the yellow row. This is going to be the base for our inner corner highlight, so focusing that at the inner corner, sort of merging that into that lime green, and then I'm also going to take that onto my lower lash line as well, just at the inner third. So this is what the eye look will look like without any glitter, just an all matte look. Honestly, I think it looks great. But to move along into the look, I'm taking a white eyeliner and I'm gonna run this along that cut crease line. This is going to emphasize the cut crease a little bit more, but it's also just a little bit more detail to an eye look since everything is quite matte. This is another way you could play up an all matte look, is bringing in eyeliners, and this is a really simple way to do so. I'm using a really thin paintbrush to draw this line. I'm then going into my M Cosmetics Cosmic Pearl eyeshadow in the shade Luna. This is going on top of Elephant, our light yellow inner corner. This is just going to help brighten up that area, and I just love a good inner corner highlight. I feel like it really does bring my whole look together. And then going into another palette, this one is from Unleashia. It's their Glitterpedia palette in number 3, all of coral pink. And I'm pretty much just gonna apply these glitters. It's a mixture of like a thinner glitter and a chunky glitter. I'm gonna apply that right above the white eyeliner, just above that crease. Again, it's gonna emphasize that half cut crease, but glitter just makes everything look prettier. So I'm just gonna scatter this all over above my half cut crease, and then I'm also gonna be adding on this little pearl at the inner corner of my eyes just to spice up the look. But to complete the look, I will be going back into the palette, taking the shade Fun Fun Fun, which is the darkest purple, and I'm gonna use that to create my wing. But with the wing being done, this is the first look completed. I love how it turned out. I think it's such a fun, bright spring look with a combo of green and berries. It's just like a little flower on the eyes with the white eyeliner, the glitters, the pearl. I absolutely love it. Love this combo. I don't do it enough, but I definitely should. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this first look as well. So for the second look, this is actually inspired by Jisoo from Blackpink. She wore a blue eyeshadow look in their new Shutdown music video, so I thought I could easily recreate that with this palette. So starting off with the shade Got Ice, which is the lightest blue in the blue row, and I'm pretty much just going to pack that on all over my lid to really get the pigment going. You could again use a white base to really bring out that true blue, but I think packing it on top of an eyeshadow primer does the job. And then once I have that packed onto my lids, I would take a really small blending brush and just lightly blend that out up into my crease to get a nice gradual blend. Then I'm going to take a mixture of Screwdriver, which is a mid-tone orange, mixed with Homewreck, which is the mustard. Taking a mixture of these two, and I'm going to run that onto my lower lash line, but focusing it mostly just at the outer third. Jisoo had a hint of orange, but I didn't want to go full orange, so I mixed it with that mustard to sort of tone it down a little bit. But that is pretty much it for the eyeshadows. I'm gonna go in with a glitter stick from Alicia. This is number 7, Sheer Skin, and I'm gonna use this to highlight my inner corners a little bit, just to add a little bit more dimension to the eye look. So taking that into my inner corners and on my lower lash line, just at the inner third. But then to just complete the look, I'm taking the shade Type A, which is the darkest blue. I'm gonna use this to create my wing. I did mix it in a little bit with some matte black eyeshadow, just a tiny bit, but it's mostly this dark navy blue. I thought it would complement that baby blue for our eyeliner. But here we have this very simple inspired look by Blackpink Jisoo. I think this is a really simple way to play with a bright color. Literally just slap it on all over your lids, use a neutral shade on your lower lash line, and somehow it works. It's a super easy look for look 2, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. And finally, onto the last look. It is another inspired look. I found this on Little Red Book, which is pretty much like a Chinese Pinterest. I just love this whole concept and the colors, so I thought we could do it with this palette. So with that being said, let's start off with the shade Dream Girl. This is the second pink in the palette, and I'm gonna focus that at the outer corners of my eyes. I'm using a pretty fluffy brush just to get this blown out. This look is very dreamy, very soft girl vibe, so just really smoking that out at the outer corner, and then I'm also going to sweep that onto my lower lash line as well. And then I'm going to take a bit of a Pow, which is the light orange tangerine shade, and I'm just going to use that to diffuse the outer edges of that pink. It's also going to give a very subtle sunset gradient, which, you know, this look I feel is all the sunset vibe. Then next up, I'm taking a mixture of shades. I took a Can Do, Homework, and a bit of Vibing as well, a mixture of these 3. And I'm taking this again on another fluffy blending brush, and I'm really gonna diffuse that at the inner third of my eyes, like sort of into my brows and almost like contouring my nose a little bit. The reason why I'm mixing these 3 shades is because I didn't want it to be too yellow, so I'm just mixing these 3 together. But then I'm gonna take Elephant, which is the lightest banana yellow. I'm going to start creating a soft cut crease with this matte, and I'm gonna take this up really high past my crease and bringing that cut crease all the way into my inner corners. This is really going to open up our eyes. It's going to make our eyes look much bigger. So really just carving out that shape. It doesn't have to be too precise because we're gonna go in with eyeliner afterwards, but just getting the overall shape to make it a little bit easier. Then I'm gonna go into the shade Camp, which is the dark brown, and I'm just gonna drag that along the cut crease line just to enhance that soft cut crease a little bit, just so it has something to contrast against. Now going into the shade Little Iffy and Simple Syrup, which are the 2 darkest in the pink row. I'm going to define my lower lash line with this. I'm going to define it very closely to my lash line, and at the outer edge I'm not going to curve it following the curve of my eye. I'm going to straighten it out a little bit, and then I'm also going to take these 2 shades and create the Aegyo style eye bag contour with the pink, because that's what she did in the photo, and I think, I don't know, it's really cute. I really like it. I think it actually looks better when it's pink, because I feel like when I do it with like a brown, it looks really muddy, and it makes my dark circles even darker. So I feel like when you're doing it with a fun color, it looks pretty cute. I don't know. I mean, I still gotta practice this technique. I'm definitely not the best at it. I think it's because I do have fine lines in that area. It can get in the way of making a smooth line. And then literally just taking those 2 shades again, I'm gonna use that to create my outer wing. So we do have this monochromatic plum liner going on. So this is what the look looks like with just these shadows, all matte, no glitter, no eyeliner. I definitely think it looks better with like the glitter and liner, but just to give you an idea of what it looks like. But with that being said, I'm gonna go in with some glitters. I'll just have them linked down below, because honestly I'm going through like 4 different palettes to get these glitters. I'm using a lot of products here, just because I want a lot of dimension on my eyes. But first I'm gonna place a lot of glitter on that eye bag. So in between that Aegyo style contour that we drew and then putting it on that eye bag to really highlight and bring that out so it doesn't look too crazy. And then running some glitter at the cut crease line. Like I said, you didn't have to be so precise with the cut crease because we are going over this area anyway, but just adding some glitter there. Now taking my white eyeliner, similar to the second look, I'm going to draw a little line to carve out that crease. This is where you'll see more of that definition. And also like towards the inner corner, I'm gonna make it a little bit thicker and then just adding on some extra little teardrops. You know, this is an inspired look, so this is why I'm doing all of these crazy things. I think it's really pretty. I really love how it turned out in the end. I also took a yellow eyeliner to add on little dots, more dimension, and this is technically how the final look turned out. I did do a lot off camera. I just think this look was so fun. I think best for last, honestly. I really love how it turned out. And also I did cut my bangs, so you know, new hair, got my new nails, got a lash lift. So overall, I'm just really liking my look today, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this final look. Alright guys, so those were my 3 looks. What do you guys think? Let me know your favorite look in the comments down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's review. I hope you found it helpful, even if it is, you know, a few months late. I hope you guys still enjoyed it anyway. But thank you guys so much for watching as always. I truly do appreciate it. I love you, and I'll go ahead and see you guys in my next video. Bye!